Hi guys, in this video I need to write an army list for Oathmark.
Gruffy Crow.
So, it is currently the Monday before the big Oathmark event and I haven't written an army list and I don't have an army ready. Worst case scenario, I take my dwarves, but really I want to take my new army, my woodland themed army. So I need to write myself an army list and I need to work out what needs painting and get it painted. There's a few units that I definitely want to take, such as this Halfling champion, just because I really want to get him on the table. And there's a few units that obviously I want to take, but pretty much have to take because they are finished and painted. I still need to work on this banner, but pretty much this whole unit are ready to go, along with my leader, and they're going to form the core of my army anyway. And then I've got these little tree men done. They're ogres for the purpose of Oathmark, and they're finished, so they're in. We also have the chariot from the recent video, and that is finished, so that's in. Similarly, I don't think I can go wrong with a unit of Halfling slingers, or this nice big unit of Halfling archers. Halfling wizard seems like a pretty good call, and I've got a champion painted already as well, but he still needs his unit done. I've also got some Halfling artillery all painted up, ready to go. I was thinking about using this lady as a buddock, I don't know. The spell-playing monster, that's a lot of points, I think 400 points. Alternatively, I could just go for a human shaman. Put them over here on the magic pile. So already I feel like I've got a fair amount. That's a core army there. We've got some sort of central units. We've got some screening units. We've got some magical and range support. We've got some speedy stuff. Some more range support and some heavy hitters. So I've got a nice varied army. I'm still not thinking too much about tactics. More like this is what's painted, this is what's ready to go. So what can we add to this to make this effective? I also need to take into account that I'm using two different kingdoms here. We're going to have human kingdom stuff and we're going to have halfling kingdom stuff. So we have to make sure that all fits within the restraints of the kingdom builder. So let's move all this stuff back and we'll take a look at what I want to add. Now, bearing in mind I've only got a week to get this finished, we've got the aforementioned Halfling champion. I really want to get him on the table. We've got a Halfling chariot, but since there's no such thing, that'll be a second human chariot, but they come under one choice, so seems like a good call. I want to add more range support, so we've got one unit of human archers. I've got two units like this, but I think I'm only going to need one along with the Halfling archers. I'd also like to fit in this unit of line breakers for some more heavy hitting power. As you can see, we've already got a rank and a bit done of this unit, and we've already started on some of the base coats and some of the rest of it. So that shouldn't be too much hassle to get those finished off. So I'm going to go and do the maths now, see how this all fits, and see what else I can fit in.
And here is the maths in question. So we start with my human prince, and for the purpose of this games day, that is a free unit. And then we've got my human champion, and then the King's Guard, which is the nicely painted unit, the Forest Rangers, which are the unpainted archers, and they all fit in the human city, so that's quite neat. And then we've got the Old Guard, they're my human line breakers, my barbarians, the human chariots, and although they're only units of one, I've just put them all on this one line. We've got my Halfling champion on his pony, some Halfling soldiers named after him. So obviously now we're in the Halfling village section, and that gets me the Halfling archers as well. Then we've got my ogres in the rough hills, the Halfling border scouts, a couple of Halfling spellcasters, a Halfling catapult, and some hounds. And I managed to get all of that in the normal Oathmark army builder layout as well, which, the 2, the 3, and the 4. So it took me quite a while, it took me a couple of hours to sort of craft this, and it did come out exactly the right amount of points. But I did notice when I got to the event that I had made a bit of a mistake, and really I should have only brought 19 of the human soldiers, the same way as I only brought 19 of the line breakers. So I did have a couple of points to spare.
So as you saw, after crunching numbers, this is what we're left with. So once again, we can disregard all of this stuff, and this is my little painting challenge. I'm going to start with the archers because I reckon these are going to be one of the quickest jobs, even though it's a full unit of 20. I think I'm going to make them sort of 90% green. Okay, back on the painting desk. And I'm going to try and remove all distractions. Doesn't matter how cool a jetpack mermaid with an Uzi and a machete is, that can wait until after the tournament. Okay, desk's pretty much clear. And we've got my Nocturne green out and a nice fresh fluffy makeup brush. And then once I've done with this, I've got 2 more layers of green that I use on these guys, and they should be about halfway done after that. So I often paint this way by picking a default colour. I generally pick whatever the sort of dominant colour on the model is. So in this case it is going to be green. I usually do skin tone as my sort of first base colour. Definitely 100% if I'm going to do something like Beastmen, but I've done it with other stuff as well. I often start with the faces, so this does seem a weird way of doing things, even for me. But certainly not unique. For instance, I'm doing these spacemen at the moment that are currently just orange. So yeah, picking a default colour I find is a good way to get through a lot of models like this nice and quickly. And by default what I mean is basically anything that I don't paint another colour is going to end up green. Okay, there we go. They're all sort of green. It's quite a dark green, so you can't really tell. But it's going to get them ready for this one, which is forest green from Foundry. So I'm still not a massive fan of these Foundry paints, but I actually quite like the scheme I'm getting off of these. And then we're going to go for this, which is the green sea. It might just be called forest green as well. But I'm going to differ from normal. Normally I would go and manually highlight everything. I'm going to try, at least on the first few, getting a dry brush down on these guys. See if I can pick out some of the details quicker than I would normally. I'm not sure how well a dry brush is going to work with this paint because it is kind of, I don't know, slightly more transparent than I'm used to. I've just got a bit of blue roll. Let's see what we can do. I don't think that's too bad actually. Let's try another one. We're sort of getting 80 or 90% of the model. But we're keeping it in the keeping the original green in the recesses, which is kind of what we're aiming for. I think with how transparent this is going on, we're going to need to do this twice. Do it now like this and then get it all dry and do it again. But I think this is going to be a viable way to get this colour down. Okay, so it's Wednesday already and somewhat upsetting me for one reason or another. I haven't got any further with these guys. So I still need to finish painting these even green. But I'm also going to quickly blast the chariot with a couple of browns. So I'm going to use Idrin Flesh all over and then Rhinoxide on the bottom. And while I'm here with the comically large brush, I'm also just going to quickly grab the bows, feet, hands, face, any skin parts of the crew. Okay, so they've all had their first coat of the forest green. I'm going to try and pump up that colour a little bit more with a second slightly lighter dry brush of the same green. So we've got that looking a bit like that. I think if we just do it again, we'll just get a slightly purer colour. And doing it slightly thinner means we build up a few more of those shades and shadows. And this isn't sped up footage, this is actually how fast I am doing these. Just to get that little extra brush on all the raised areas of this green. Okay, so this careless haste has caused one problem. I've snapped this arrow. A couple of options: I could carve off the arm, reattach it, repaint it. I could try stick a bit of glue in there, like a bit of plastic glue, and try and get that to reset, but it'd never be quite right. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop it off. I'm just going to pop the bottom part off. Get my scalpel and just remove all trace there was ever an arrow there. And now we have a guy that's just fired a shot and he's either reaching for another arrow or, I don't know, just shaking his fist. I'm happy with that, so that's what we're going to go with. Okay, so the next stage is this final light green, and we're taking it from here to here. Got a relatively large brush, number 2, but a nice quality one. I'm still using the paint quite thick, but trying to get nice fine coats. This paint is quite transparent, so I can kind of build up the shades where I want it really light. Alright, it's late Thursday night and we've got all the green on these guys. We've got the green on these, the charioteers, and I've just gone around with some watered down, I've got it everywhere, watered down Rhinox hide and done all of the multi-bases, the chariot base, all the archers and the unit of halflings. This is because I do it quite watered down, so it gets in all the cracks and nooks and crannies, but it also means that it can take a few hours to dry, and while it's drying, the sand areas, it melts the glue a little bit, so I want that all to harden back up. I don't want to be rubbing anything more off. So it's the perfect job to do just before I go to bed and give up for the night. Okay, so it's Friday lunchtime. I'm simultaneously working on all of these models. So these are the barbarians. And I've mostly just been laying down the bases while I've been dry brushing everything else. Same with the halflings. We've got the first layer of brown down. We've got all the skin tone, for their face, hands and feet all down. And that's what I'm working on the archers now. So getting them from sort of here to sort of here. So any wood or flesh. This is the sort of pattern I'm going with for the barbarians. We're going to go for some light furs, maybe a few of them with grey hair, sort of grey trousers, but then keep the green and yellow splashes here and there, to sort of keep them alive and interested and fitting in the rest of the unit. I blocked pretty much all the yellow out already a while back, and the skin's been done. But in a lot of ways they're a lot more complicated than the archers are going to be, because I've still got the green to block out, the grey to block out, furs, faces, all sorts of bits and pieces, as well as their weapons. So I'm also working on the halflings today. These are actually quite simple to paint. I really quite like them. I'm mostly just going to go with sort of yellow tunics and grey trousers again, green cloaks wherever there are them. And that should make these guys quite fast to paint. They're actually quite small. They're not low detail, because the detail's very lovely and crisp, but they're very simple, which I think is one of the things that makes them look so good. So I'll start with the flesh tone like I've done with this guy, and then we'll block out all the colours and I'll show you them then. Just as a background on these guys, in case you haven't watched all my other videos, these are Frostgrave barbarians with various extra arms. These are out-of-the-box Oathmark guys, but some of them do have elf heads. These are the cobblestone halflings from North Star, mixed with a couple of Midland miniatures halflings for a bit of variety as well. Oh, and Old Grenadier halflings from Milton and Forlorn Hope, also by Cobblestone, so they all kind of blend in. Okay, I've just cracked out the Midland flesh, and we're going to get this on the halflings and the archers, just do them all at once, anywhere that I think needs it. Even though I'm on this massive deadline, I should be focused on trying to get stuff ready for tomorrow. I did manage to find time to paint this little fella, because I have no focus. But there we go, I painted a little alien. And this again isn't taking long per mini, so on the faces I'm just doing a downwards brush just to pick up all the main details. And I'm going to do a wash and another layer, so even though I'm rushing. So this doesn't have to be the neatest thing in the world. I just want to keep the gaps between the fingers, like the gaps on his mouth. A lot of them only have a very tiny section of skin visible on their faces, and then it's just their hands that need doing. Also their bandanas and braces, and to a certain extent their bows, haven't been painted yet, so I can be a little bit lax with this, and we can repair that down the line as long as I don't get it on the green. Okay, so I've got the Midland Flesh on everyone. Now I'm going to hit them all with some Rifleman Flesh Shade. And the Flesh Shade's just going to take all these little hands and everything and just add back in a little bit of that detail. Soften down the contrast between the dark base layer and the new layer. And it adds a bit of I don't know, warmness to the colour as well, I think. Okay, it's dinner time, and I've blocked out all the yellow and green on these guys. We've started painting the horses. If it comes to it, I reckon the Rangers will do. They're not finished, but we've got different coloured bows, hands and cloaks, so I can almost live with that. The Halflings I do want to finish tonight though, and so is the Barbarians, who are still very unpainted. But I've got a few more hours yet after dinner, so hopefully we can still get there. Okay, so it's almost midnight. I need to go and get some sleep because I've got a big day tomorrow. I am sad to say that I haven't finished anything. These guys are at least sort of tabletop ready to an extent. I think I can probably assemble the chariot, and that's probably alright. But the Barbarians are nowhere near how I'd want them, and I don't want to rush the Halflings too much. I've got all their base colours down pretty much, apart from their leather. But I've still got all the leather to paint in, which is one of the longest stages. And then they're going to need a wash, and then they're going to need all their hair doing. And at this point I'm just making silly mistakes like splodging paint in the wrong places, because I've been doing this all day. So yeah, bit of a failure. Learnt my lesson, don't leave things till the last minute, I guess. So I'm going to try and get the champion finished up, and then I'm going to have to get this packed away.
Morning guys, it's 7:15 and I've just got in my car. It's far too early for me for a Saturday, but I'm off to drive down to Swindon for the country's first Oathmark Games Day.
Hi guys, just finished my first game, and the army of Elmed thoroughly repelled the borders. No dwarves made it across the table. So far it's been great fun. My first game was with amazing Matthew Biggs from Mini Wargaming Footage. I'll stick his channel down in the comments.
6 dice, 5 dice.
But there seems to be a really good group of guys here, and it's been fun so far.
And here's the army arrayed for battle. So after that first triumphant win, I then went on to win a second game that was about holding objectives. And then on my third game, which was just a pure kill game, unfortunately I wasn't able to fully wipe out any units, and that came in as a loss. Though I think if we'd have stuck it out, I'd have probably turned that one. But all in all, it was an amazing day. There was a great group of blokes there. We all went out for a curry afterwards. And I didn't feel too bad that I hadn't got my army really ready in time. And that's all for this video. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments. Maybe subscribe for more. And as ever, thanks for watching. Bye.